All right. Good afternoon, everybody from Geneva, Switzerland. This is Edison from SheTrades Commonwealth. Thank you for being here with us, Kwame and Cynthia from Google Business Group. It's my pleasure to be introducing you to Kwame. Before I begin, of course, and do the introduction, I would just like to establish some house rules. Please mute yourselves and disable your videos to optimize a visual and quality for and audio quality for everybody. So allow me to introduce Kwame. He is a data analyst at Vodafone Ghana and also a published author of 4 papers on the application of technology in healthcare. He has extensive experience in data analytics and has delivered on several key analytics solutions at Vodafone Ghana. Kwame is also responsible for digital marketing analytics at Vodafone and has led highly successful digital marketing campaigns. In addition to his current role and research work, Kwame loves to teach and has served as a coding instructor for the Vodafone National Coding Program for the last 2 years. In his spare time, Kwame loves to read and play the piano. So thank you for being here with us, Kwame. Absolute pleasure. And thank you for agreeing to host this Google Analytics session. I will pass on the presentation to you if you don't mind, and you can please move ahead to share your screen.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks a lot for the introduction. So, hi guys. I'm happy to meet everyone. I'm sharing my screen now. I don't know if it's visible to everyone. So, yes, I don't know if you guys can see my screen, but
yes, we can hear you and
okay,
see you.
all right. Okay, fantastic. Right. So, yeah, that was just a brief introduction about myself. I really love to teach and do support anything that has to do with digital skills and helping to improve people. And as a coding instructor, I've been on a few coding camps.
Let's connect later. Maybe
It's an awesome opportunity for people to learn. I mean, I wish I had this opportunity when I was trying to get into IT. So I always encourage people that whenever you have these chances, opportunities, try and learn as much as you can. And then from there, you build on. Right. So today's session will mostly focus on Google Analytics, right? So I don't know how many of you have heard about Google Analytics. This would have been amazing if we're in a class or a room or something, right? So I could get the views of, different people, try and discuss around it. But basically, Google Analytics, it's a web analytics platform. So web analytics, in the sense that it helps you gather insights and data on what users are doing on your website, okay? So there's this analogy I like to use. So whenever you see billboards around, right? So the purpose of billboards is to try and inform or sell products to a customer, right? So when you see a billboard about, say, Coca-Cola, right? What they are trying to do is to draw your attention to the product. If it's a particular promo that they are running, then that's what the billboard will carry, right? But the difference between our traditional channels and our digital channels is the amount of information you can gather from your website is nowhere, is way above what you can get on your billboards or even TV, right? So you see these billboard companies, sometimes they try and get people to stand by the roadside and try and estimate how many people actually get to see their billboards. So you see people standing by the roadside counting the number of cars. So they look at the private cars, how many people might be in a private car. They look at, the public transports to try and understand, like averagely how many people see the billboards. And that's what they use to place value on these billboards. So then when companies come, they give them the numbers, letting them know that I have a reach of maybe like 2 million people a day or 100,000 people a day. And based on that, they're able to charge customers, right? So with Google Analytics, once you build your website, you build your platform, you host your business online, right? What Google Analytics allows you to do is to track user activity on your website in real time. So real time is a whole conversation on its own, in the fact that you're able to see what people are doing as and when it happens. Okay, so that is really valuable because it can impact the kind of activities you do yourself. You're able to understand the customer journey, the user journey, as and when it happens. You probably run a campaign on another platform. You're able to see the revenue lines growing and reducing in real time so that you can take measures to mitigate whatever impact is happening on your website. Okay, so two key channels that would be the website and the mobile app. Right, so when you have a mobile app, you have a website, you can use Google Analytics to track all user activity, all user behavior. Okay, I hope this intro has given you at least a brief idea of what we can do and what Google Analytics can do for our websites and mobile apps. Okay, so when you look at Google Analytics, these are four main features that I wanted to touch or focus on, right? So all this data coming in, what we currently do, even in my team, right, we have one person who is dedicated to working on dashboards, visualization, right? So all the data that is coming in, this one person just creates it and then creates beautiful dashboards. Dashboards are, easy to understand for management. So with Google Analytics, with all the data that's being collected, these dashboards are already created for you, right? So you don't have to stress yourself to try and, create these dashboards. There are reports that are predefined, pre-created. So you just go in and look at your numbers and then try and understand the trend and all that. And there's also segmentation, right? So segmentation in the sense that with all the people visiting your website, they are not all the same, right? So segmentation allows you to drill down even to factors like the kind of mobile devices they are using, their location, that's what we call geolocation, their operating system, their browser type, the kind of internet they are using, and all sorts of things, and even the demographics, whether they are male or female, right? So what this helps you do is to be able to personalize your website in a sense for different kinds of people. You want to probably do something that will target iPhone users, right? Google Analytics will give you this kind of segmentation. You're able to put people in different buckets, different classes, okay? And the next thing is about the third party or the keyword referrals. So when I say third party, what this means is where people are visiting your website from, okay? So you're able to tell where your traffic is coming from. So let's just take social media platforms again. So if you have Google Analytics set up in your website, you're able to tell where your traffic is coming from. So let's say Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can't tell which social media platforms are giving you the most traffic. Okay, and then you can leverage on that to probably run campaigns on the social media platforms you think you have the most reach based on the organic traffic that is coming, right? Or you can decide to focus on areas where you think your reach is low. So maybe your traffic coming from Twitter is low. So with these insights, you can then decide to improve upon that and run some campaigns on Twitter. Okay. Now, the next thing is the keyword referrals. Now, what this means is Google Analytics will allow you to tell which keywords people found your website with. So when they went to, say, Google to search, what keywords led them to your website? Okay, now what you can do with this is to work on your search engine optimization. Now, the basic dictionary definition of SEO, as it's popularly known, search engine optimization, is to be able to drive like quality website traffic to your platform. Okay, just by working on the kind of keywords that you can be found with, right? So once you have these keywords, you're able to determine what gets people to your website faster, and then you can improve on your work on your search engine optimization. Okay, so that's one key aspect of Google Analytics. And then there's conversion tracking. So conversion tracking, for instance, if you have an e-commerce platform, you're able to set up an end-to-end journey, right? So you're able to establish, how your journey is supposed to be and at what point conversion is measured. Okay, so maybe I have an e-commerce platform, I'm selling mobile devices. For one, you can set up a funnel. So at every stage in the journey, you can measure it. So maybe from when a person touches on the homepage, right up to when they add the item to the cart, right up till they make payments or provide you can track it in every step of the way. And yeah, you can track each step of the way and then measure how customers are faring on the journey. So if, say, you realize that people are dropping off when they add to cart, you can try and investigate and find out why. Maybe your approach or how you are working on your add to cart might not be helping, right? So there was this time I was using an e-commerce platform. When you add an item to a cart, there's no indication or notification, and then you don't see anything being added to the cart, right? So you realize that you keep adding an item, hoping that you see a notification. By the time you get to the cart, you have like 5 items. Meanwhile, you meant to add just one. Now, users are very delicate. Somebody might just get frustrated by this and not even continue with the journey again, right? So with these kind of insights, you're able to understand where to drill down into, right? So you don't operate blindly, right? You don't just run campaigns and, you tune off. You're able to understand every step of the way. Okay, now we are talking a lot about data, right? So this is just some of the data that Google Analytics collects. Okay, so time of visit. Basically, once a user touches your platform, it's logged. So their time of visit when they touch is logged, and the time they exit is also logged. And with these two metrics, you're able to calculate how many minutes, seconds, hours users spend. Right. So yeah. So that's how time of visit works. From that, you can calculate how many minutes are spent on your website. And then the pages visited is also measured. So every single page you have, whenever users navigate to each of these pages, it's recorded. The count of the visits, the count of the page views is also recorded. And you can split the time of visits or the minutes spent on the website by the pages. Okay. So you just do a, a lookup. So you can see how many minutes people are spending on each page, right? So that is something I am currently working on our side to try and evaluate best performing pages. Okay. Now you can use this to discontinue some pages, right? So you have some pages in the last 30 days, in the last 60 days, just one visit. Okay. That is really low. If the trend continues for a while, you can't have a business decision to discontinue that page because the traffic going there is quite low. Okay. And something like screen resolution, you can determine based on the devices that people are using, the network location and the IP address is also available. With that, you can be able to determine where people are even actually located, right? And then there's transactional data, and that is what I just touched on. Data like revenue tracking. You can even measure the number of cart additions. Yes, and then, yeah. So these transactional reports are basically available for e-commerce, right? So if you have an e-commerce section, it helps you to be able to track how many activities people are doing per revenue. And then there's the mobile device type. So you're able to tell whether they are using how many of your users are on mobile or desktop or are using iPad and all that. And this is also key for campaigns because you're able to tell how many of your visitors are on mobile. Okay, so if you have an app, you can even run a campaign on your website to drive more traffic to the app if you want. And with this one, you don't have to target desktop users because, of course, they can't download the app on their desktop. So once you segment people using mobile devices, then you can go ahead and more like target these specific people. Okay, and then there's operating system type, which is also quite basic. Google Analytics lets you know which operating system types people are using. There's browser type, and quite recently, the browser type was able to help us discontinue one service on. I know you guys, I don't know if you know about Internet Explorer, the very old one. You know, there's a new one, the IE10, but there's an old one that's still existent, right? So we were developing our chatbot, Toby, right? And there was a lot of pressure to also make it compatible with the old version of Internet Explorer. Now, our developers were saying that they don't want to do it because people are not using Internet Explorer, the old version. But this is the case where the business was saying, you don't have numbers. You are just saying what you are saying. It's an opinion, okay? Of course, you might be right because a lot of people have moved on from that version. But if you don't have numbers, it's very difficult to make some of these cases. So I just pulled the reports and we realized that about 0.01% of our visitors are actually using that. So that was enough for them to make their case and then, more like move ahead with what they wanted to do. Okay, so now that we have the type of data out of the way, let's look at how online analytics, not just Google Analytics, right, but basically all online analytics, how it works. Okay, so there's something that we call the tracking code. So I will take you through how to set up Google Analytics. I think I have all the slides in here. So the tracking code is just a piece of script, okay, JavaScript that you put in the head section of the source code of your website. Okay, so most times I teach this after I teach a web development course because of course it's web analytics, so you need at least a background in website development and all that. Okay, so when you're developing a website, there's a section in your code called the head section. So in there you put a script with the source code with the tracking code that Google will provide you. Okay, now basically when anyone visits a website with the tracking code, you can inspect websites. I don't know if you guys know that as well, but any website at all, you can just anywhere right click and inspect. So when you inspect, you can just search for Google Analytics or Google Tag Manager. Okay, let me take my time here. So if you inspect and you want to see whether this platform is actually using Google Analytics or not, you can just search for maybe Google Analytics or Google Tag Manager. Google Tag Manager is a tag management platform. So what this basically means is it helps you deploy scripts, custom scripts in your website. Okay, so maybe you want to set up a specific event on your website. Maybe when users click this button, I want you to track this button click and all that. For that, you need to do some custom implementation, and you can use a tag manager to implement some of these things, right? So basically, anytime anyone visits any website with the tracking code, this JavaScript fires or loads, and the data is sent to Google, right? And as I already explained, if we didn't have dashboards, right, what an analyst would have to do is collect all this data that is being sent to Google Analytics, their servers, and try and, make sense out of the data, right? But the good thing is once the data gets sent, all the metrics and calculations are automatically and in real time um, worked on, and then that is what results in the dashboards that we have down here. Okay, so this is just a sample of the tracking code, right? So I'll take you through the whole process of setting this up. Yeah, I think I created a new email so that at least I could get the end-to-end rundown. But just a few terms before we move into the setup, okay? So if we are doing Google Analytics, we are doing Web Analytics, these are really key terms that you need to understand, okay? So when we say a page view, what does it mean? A page view is just like the name sounds. If I come to your website and I view any page, it's counted as a page view. So if I go to Vodafone Ghana, I view the home page, it's one page view. I go to Vodafone Cash page, that's 2 page views. Okay, so a visit is, I mean, it sounds like the name. If I visit, it's just like visiting somebody's house. So if I visit your website, that is counted. It's a metric called a visit, right? So visit and session is sometimes used interchangeably, right? So in Google Analytics, it's referred to as a session, but in other web analytics platforms like Adobe Analytics, it's called a visit. Okay, so they basically identify as the same thing, right? So there's one key aspect that you need to understand about visits. After 30 minutes of inactivity in every visit or session, it resets. Okay, so if I go to Vodafone Ghana's website or Jumia or anywhere and I'm browsing, like I go inactive for less than 30 minutes, it's still one visit. But once 30 minutes elapses, that session will reset. So now then it becomes 2 visits. Okay, now it is possible to change this per the user's definitions, right? If maybe you want to reset that, for example, if you have an e-learning platform, right? Like edX or Udacity or Coursera, 30 minutes of inactivity might not be ideal because people watch videos for a longer period and they may not um, really move to any other page. Okay, so for that, you can change something like this, the definition of a visit or a session. Now, a unique visitor refers to each, I have to use the same word, unique person that visits any website. Now, please note that all these terms are relative to time periods, okay? So you define unique visitors within a specific time period, right? So in 1 week, you may have maybe, let me take myself, right? So Kwame, I go to the Jumia website, right? And within a week, I visit twice. I visit 5 times, or maybe, okay, let's say I visit 5 times and I look at 20 pages. So when you're doing analytics, page views will be my 20 page views. My visit to be the 5 times, and I am one unique visitor, even though I visited more than once. Okay, so that is how it's basically counted. Now it's possible that when you're doing your daily unique, this is one mistake that I realized with someone. So what the person was doing was the person had set up a Google Analytics platform and was helping out a colleague, right? And what happened was he took the daily unique visitors and summed it up. Okay, so within a month, every day the unique visitors, he kept adding it up and the number bloated up, right? So what was wrong there was it's possible that within a day I visit once, but I may visit tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow when I come, within that particular day, I am a unique visitor. So I come on Monday, let's say I don't even come on Tuesday, I come on Wednesday, right? On Monday, I am one unique visitor. On Wednesday, I am another unique visitor. Okay, so if you decide to sum the daily unique visitors, you completely bloat the numbers because there are people that will come multiple times. That's what I'm saying is for a specific defined period. Okay, so you can look at unique visitors for the last 30 days, for the last 60 days, or for the last 90 days. It's all relative to the time period you are looking at, right? So let's look at a few more terms. So bounce rate. Bounce rate simply refers to a percentage of your users that visits just one page on your website. Okay, so this is another key term that a lot of web analytics users often refer to. So it helps you understand the, the kind of activity or how people more like love your website, should I say. Okay, now this is also subjective. Okay, I don't know, I wish I could ask someone to like explain why I'm saying this is subjective too. It's subjective because if, for instance, I have a website that gives, it's informational. Okay, I want my website to give people information. Now, would I want people visiting more pages? Not necessarily, right? Because if people, if it's informational and I want people to just view specific pages, I don't expect the bounce rate to be low, right? Because the kind of information I'm given, I expect them to be like a single page view. So once they see that, they are gone. So bounce rate and time on page are two metrics that can be subjective. Time on page works in the same manner. Time on page is the last metric there. I'll run through the middle one. So time on page, same concept. If you have an informational website, you don't expect people to spend too much time, in a sense. Okay, so if they're spending too much time, it means probably they are not finding what they are looking for, right? But if it's a website where you want people to explore, you want people to see more pages, then you expect people to spend more time. So if you have your business or you have your business page, you need to define what success means for you, right? So just because bounce rate is high means it's bad for everyone, might not be bad for you. Just because people are not spending a lot of time on your website might not be bad. It simply means your website is probably efficient. They find what they want quickly and then like that, they are off. They don't need to waste too much time. So it's up to you to define what you think success means. Okay. Now click through it. It works with when you're doing ad campaigns. So it's the number of people who see your ads or your creators versus the number of people that actually click on it. Okay. So impression also refers to the number of times. Impression is like page views, the number of times something is seen. Okay. And then return visitor refers to people that basically visit more than once. Okay. So there's also a key metric to track. So new and return visitors. So new visitors are people that have never visited your site before within a defined period, of course. And then return visitors are people that come back within that period. Okay. So you can take a month, how many people are new then, how many people return within that same month. Okay, so you can use that to be able to track people's affinity to your website as well. So let me quickly run you through this is basically an audience overview, right? So this is a basic dashboard or report that you can look at. So over here, you see the account selector. I'll explain into detail on the next slide. But there are three things you just need to know: accounts, properties, and views. Okay. So over here, you have your notifications about your properties and views. And then you can choose to add new Google accounts on this icon, right? So this is the basic audience overview. Now you have all users in this section, right? So this basically means every single person that touches on your website, these are their numbers. Now remember, I was going on and on about segmentation. This is where you can add a segment. Okay, so you want to see how iPhone users are faring on your website. You simply add a segment and filter by just focusing on iPhone users. So once you add that filter, you're able to see how many users are from iPhone. You can change the time period here, right? So you can go as far back as you want. You can export or save this dashboard or even share, right? So you can share this with maybe somebody else with the view access only, right? And then in the overview, you can change to either per hour, day, week, or month. And then down here, you have your users, and then you have your new users, you have your sessions. So you know sessions already, so I'm not going to go into that. So then you have your number of sessions per user. This is just math, dividing the sessions by the users, okay? So within the period that we've chosen, people do 1 or 2, 4 sessions per user, right? So you have your page views. I've already explained that. So pages per session, once again, simple math. You divide the number of pages viewed versus the sessions that you have. So within each session, people view 5 pages. Okay, makes sense, right? Simple. And then you have your average session duration. So we'll find an average of the time spent by everyone. And then that's what you have, 3 minutes and 8 seconds, which is quite a lot, right? And then you have your bounce rate. Our bounce rate is 46%, right? So there are some things that you can do these are some of the things that we have done at Vodafone to try and reduce our bounce rate. And it's one of our success stories, right? So our bounce rate was quite high, right? But we were intentional about it, right? We had a strategy session to try and reduce this bounce rate, right? In a case, because we have a lot of sections on our Vodafone website, we want people to explore more. We don't want people to visit one page and leave. It hurts my soul, right? So we have all these pages. We have the business pages. We have Vodafone Cash. We have the mobile bundles. We have device. If somebody comes once and leaves, then all the website nice things that we've done, just one page, right? So we had a session on how to lead people to other pages. So these are intentional things that you can do. So somebody comes to the mobile page, they are there for a while, just a small pop-up or something at the bottom of the page. You are looking at this. Would you want to see this as well? So maybe you're looking at a mobile bundle page, and then it comes up. Would you want to see our broadband packages, or you're on the business page? Do you want to see Vodafone Cash? Some of these little things that we kept, popping up, showing up, and it drastically reduced our bounce rate. It actually halved it. It reduced it by half, right? And we celebrated for a while, right? But the way these things work is you need to keep improving upon it. So you need to keep thinking, innovating. Otherwise, it will go back up again. You get it? Because users, they are very delicate, right? So after something happens for a while, they just, adjust. So now they see it and like, I've seen it before. What else do you have? I don't want to go to that page. You get it? Yeah. And then on your right, you see your new visitor and returning visitor. So you can see that a lot of people that came are people that were returning, right? So yeah, the account structure that I wanted to explain. So whenever you're setting Google Analytics, there are 3 main items that you can look at. So there's the organizations, there's the account, and then there's the property. And within the property, we have the views. Okay. So organization can represent more like a company, like Vodafone. So this Google Analytics organization is a Vodafone Ghana organization, right? Now, account is defined as the access point for analytics. So you can have one or more accounts for an organization. Okay, so I mean, it can be like a one account, one organization sort of thing, but ideally you can have one account and have like two different properties. Okay, so let's say we've set the organization as Vodafone Ghana, and then we have one account. Now you see my, how do you call it? This is a demo I was doing for you guys. Sorry. So I have a demo account. So this demo account has all the properties within the account. So maybe if it's one company, or maybe you want to go into digital marketing full time. So you have one account here as this demo. So you are serving these guys, and then you have a separate account for maybe another gig that you have. Okay, so that would be a separate account. You get it? Right? Or even it can be the same organization. You can split maybe different departments or something. It's basically up to you. But you can have a linear approach, right? You can have one organization. That's if your business, your website, you can have one account. And then when you get to property, that's where you define whether it's a website or mobile app, or website and mobile app. Now, the website and mobile app allows you to do something we call cross-device analysis. So you can actually see people that come to your website, and if they have your app, you can see it unifies these guys, right? Now, this is an amazing um, um, feature, because you can see people that actually have your app and visit your website, and you can have a campaign to, I don't know, get these guys to stay on the app. Okay, you develop the app for a purpose. Apps are supposed to make interacting with any product or service better, right? So once you see that these people, they have my app, but they keep going to the website, or they can even inform your decision, like, why are they going to the website when I have the app? Is it that I have some pages on the web that are not on the app, or they find the web more interactive, something like that? Okay, so as I was saying, you can have a linear approach, one organization, one account, and then the property. If you have a website, then you just have one property. If you have two properties, if you have a website and app, then that's two properties. Now the views is where you define what is seen by whom. Okay, now when you look at my all accounts, the linear, demo accounts, properties and apps, and then I have the views. Okay, so if you take Vodafone for instance, you can have a master view. A master view is something that will probably be for me. So I want to see everything across all pages. I want to see how we are doing, right? And you can have different views. You can have a Vodafone Cash view. So you set up a Vodafone Cash view for the Vodafone Cash team. So when they go, they visit the dashboard. That is all they see. I mean, they don't. It's not like they don't care about the others, but this is their focus. This is their domain. This is what they need to be focusing on, right? So you can have same for the business team and all that. I hope this is quite clear. Right. So yeah, so now we run through the setup. So how do you set up Google Analytics? The very basic thing is you need a Gmail account. I mean, of course, that's a given, right? So once you visit just Google Analytics, just search for it, you get to the setup page, right? So once you have an account, it automatically logs you in. If you don't have, then it will ask you to sign in. Okay. Now, once you click on setup, of course it's free, right? I don't know if I mentioned this, but Google Analytics is completely free. Okay, so all the insights and everything that you are gathering, the setup, all the amazing things that allow you to do is completely free. You don't have to pay a single thing to set this up. Okay, so when you click on setup for free, it brings you to this page. Now here you need to define the name of the account. Now when you check mine, I have two accounts, the demo account and the second one which I will not pronounce. So that's two accounts. So that's where you define the name of the account, right? And then, I mean, you can tick all these boxes. It's just Google recommended services and information that if you want to have, right? So once you have your name, you move to the next step. Now, this is where you define your property, right? So you see we have web, which is for websites, and then we have apps. So the app can either be iOS or Android, right? And then what I was mentioning about the cross device analysis, that's the app and web. So if you have both platforms and you want to be able to do that dissection, track people on both platforms, then you go for the app and web. Okay. Now, I think they have beta there, meaning is in a testing phase, right? So anytime you see beta by anything in Google, it means it's in a testing phase, right? So after you're done with defining the kind of property you want to track, then you have the property setup, right? So since I chose website here, then it's asking me details about the website. So you provide the website name. I couldn't find any name. That's what I could come up with. And then the website URL. I have this blog that I created so that I could get a URL for this. And then, yeah, the time zone, right? So once you're done with this, you check that everything is in order. You just click on create. Now, probably I can share this deck with, I don't know, with everyone. That's what I mostly do. I like to create content, whatever I teach. I share it with, if I'm able to share with you guys, so that you can just follow it up on your own time. Yeah. So yes, I mean, I was contemplating if I should bring this stage or not, but guys, please read the terms of service, right? So everything that pertains to your Google Analytics, what kind of data, where the data is stored, how it's being stored, security, blah, blah, blah. You should have at least a fair idea, right? So once you accept, of course, if you don't accept, you can't move ahead. So once you read, accept, then, I mean, it's set up. Now, this is basically, you can decide to take these features. It's just informational services that they want to maybe send to your email address now that they have your email. So if there are any updates, then they forward them to you. Right. So once you are done, this is the first thing you see, right? So remember I spoke a lot about the tracking code. Now, when you check this side, that's your tracking ID. So for the dummy website, dummy account I set up, this is my unique ID. And then we have the website tracking, all the English here, the config line. This is now my code. So if you're able to follow all the steps that preceded this, you should have your tracking code here. Okay, so you copy this, and then if you develop the website yourself, you put it in the head section like I showed, or you give it to whoever has access to the source code, and then you ask them to please this in there. Okay, so once you've done that, you should be able to see some data. Okay, so this is the real-time report dashboard. Okay, so what this means is, as at the time I was looking at this dashboard, it tells you the number of people that are actually online on your website, and then it splits it across mobile and desktop. Okay, and then it splits page views per each minute, per second, and then it gives you the top active pages. So these 24 guys, where are most of them going to? They are going to drinkware, whatever that is. Okay, and then we've spoken a lot about referrals. So referrals, where are they coming from? I think it's just one user. The social traffic, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, wherever they're coming from. Okay. Now, this is a real-time report. You can also have the location of, of, of people. So look, location is mostly identified through the IP. Okay. So you can tell where people are coming to you from. Okay, so India, number one, United States, like all the way down. Okay. Now, this is an audience report. So this report, basically, I think I've run through it earlier, so I'll just skip this. If you remember this, I think I explained the page sessions. You already know what the users are, sessions, bounce rate, and all that. And then we have this acquisition report. So acquisition, in the sense that if you run maybe a campaign, so that's what you see here, e-commerce conversion rate. And these are the channels. So let me explain the channels, because it's also important for web analytics. Now, when we say organic search, we are basically referring to a normal search on any search engine. Okay, so if I just go and search for Jumia or Vodafone Ghana or MTN or Glo, that's organic search. There wasn't a campaign that led me to go search for it, right? It was just organic, natural. I just wanted to search for it. So that's organic search. Direct is when they enter your URL, like I know google.com or nokia.com or benz.com, right? So that means they went directly to the search bar, and then that's how they landed on your website. Either that or it's a bookmark. Okay, so either they visited using your URL or it's just a bookmark page. Referral is third party, as I explained earlier. It can be a third party website. It can be a social media website. You posted a link there, somebody came. So that's referral. And then display is an advertising campaign. So if you run an advertising campaign, like we see a lot now, right? So that would be a display campaign. So you see an image maybe on Ghana Web. So once you click on that display ad, it counts as display. And then social is specifically social media platforms. So which social media platforms are they coming from? Right? Is it YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, blah, blah, blah. And affiliates. So affiliates are partner websites that you pay to send traffic to your website. Okay. So in a sense, it's more like affiliates can be affiliates are referrers. Okay. So affiliates refer traffic to your website, but not all referrals are affiliates, because affiliates are, like I said, partner websites that you basically engage with to send traffic to you. And then there's paid search. So paid search is something that we'll be covering in Google Ads. I think that's for Friday, right? So paid search is when you pay. So I don't know. I wish I had placed an example here. But sometimes when you search for, maybe you want to do your masters, and then you search for political science masters in Germany. Now, when you search that, sometimes the first few results you see there's ad by the side. So that is paid search, right? So we'll get into details of that on Friday. Okay. So yeah, this is your acquisition report. So you have your users, and then you have your e-commerce conversion rate. always know that something conversion has to be defined by the user. I might define conversion as when people click on something, or I might define conversion as when they actually pay for an item. Okay, so that's whatever you define will be counted as the conversion rate. And then we have the behavior report. So like I said earlier, these reports are already developed, right? So once you're able to follow everything that we've run through, you just get here and then you view the report. So when you check this left side, you see the report. So we have real-time reports, there's audience reports, acquisition, and that's what I've been running you through. There's behavior now, okay? So the behavior, so for each report type, there's the overview, and then you can drill down into specific things, okay? So for example, this acquisition report, right? This is the overview. You can drill down to all traffic. You can drill down to Google Ads specifically. You can drill down to search. You can drill down to social. It's the same for the others, okay? So once you have the overview, then it gives you the opportunity to drill down deeper and to try and understand each of the various elements in there, right? So once again, because I'm a teacher, I would have asked someone to run through this dashboard, based on what we've done in the past already. By now, you should understand what we are looking at now. So when you check here, you see page views. Now this, you can change it to visits or anything, but because this is predefined and this is overview, it's already set, but of course you can change it. You can even add a metric. So you want to compare, compare in a sense. So you want to add visits to this trend, okay? So are the visits in line with the page views, right? So you expect that as more people visit, page views will increase, right? So you can also add that trend. You can add any other metric that you want just to have a deeper look, okay? Then down here, you have all the different types of metrics, right? Does anyone have a question? I
Hi,
think someone.
Kwame. Sorry.
Yeah, hi.
We have had quite a couple of questions on wanting you to explain what a bounce rate is, and for example, how do you reduce the bounce rate? Could you perhaps explain that a little bit?
Yeah, sure, I can. So, bounce rates, let me touch on that again. So let's say any website at all, right? So if you have, say, 2,000 people coming to your website, and just maybe how many, 20 people, just 20 people visit a single page. That's the key word there, okay? So those bounce, let me call them bouncers. So those bouncers visit just one single page. They don't go anywhere else. So it's like touch and go. I come to home page and I am off. Okay. So to calculate this is the percentage of people that visit out of all your visitors, the percentage of people that visit just that one page and leave. So 2020 will be like 1%, right? So if I have 2,000 visitors and 20 of them visit just one page, my bounce rate will be what? I think 1% or so. That is how it is calculated, right? So bounce rate is basically people that visit just one page. I hope this is clear. Okay, sure.
Thank you, Kwame.
Yeah. So,
Would you like to take some basic questions now, or should I wait till the end of the session? I
I
think
think
we'll
I'm
wait till the
almost,
end. Yeah.
yeah, I'm
Okay.
almost
Let's wait till
done.
the end. Thank
Almost
you so
done.
much.
Yeah, sure. So let me just move on to cohort. Now, cohort is something I figured out had a lot of value sometime this year. Okay. So in Vodafone we have different product owners. So somebody who owns the app, somebody who owns the website, blah, blah, blah. And apparently one of the product owners was trying to visualize this, right? So if I take, say, January, right? How many of these people who visited in January come back in the subsequent months? Okay, now this is something I had already done when I was in the commercial team, right? And it was a lot of work. It wasn't for web visitors, right? It was for commercial data. And I had to use SQL. So what you should know is, I have a deeper understanding of this because I've worked with database. It's the same thing with Google Analytics. Whatever data comes sits in a database. So what I was doing on the commercial floor is, like, you query the data and you try and trend some of these things. That's why I'm still stressing on why this is amazing. And it's free because this is already done for you, right? Now, this was done in percentages, right? But you can have the actual numbers. What it means is that, let's take this first one as maybe January, okay? So January, maybe you had 20,000 people. Okay, let me just use it so that it doesn't confuse you. So 14th June 2020, you had these number of users. So of course, day zero is 100%. All of them came, right? Now what this seeks to achieve is the next day, which is June 15th, how many of these people returned to your website? Okay, now the second is against the same June 14th. So that's what you should note in interpreting this, right? So this is another class. Like, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have brought this up, but I think it's something that you should really try and understand. Cohort analysis. So it's just trending the days against the original visit day. Now you can use this to understand or even dig deeper into what we call churn. So churn is the number of people that leave your product or service. So if you have your website, you'll be able to tell the number of people that either return or churn. Okay, so this one, it means the next day only 3.28% came back, which is terrible. I mean, if this is a mobile app, then it's terrible. Or even if it's a website, it means you have a lot of work to do, right? Because people are not coming back. And if they don't come back, how do you sell your products? Okay. Now, in a similar fashion, you're able to get within maybe this should be like a week. You're more like average. So when you take your website, only 3.68% come back the next day, right? So this is daily. You can do it weekly. If maybe daily is too close for you, you can do it weekly. Weekly, if you are still having these numbers, you might have a problem, but maybe it's not too bad. If you do it monthly and it's still around this percentage, then there's a problem. Because if in a monthly view, less than 10% coming back, then it means people really don't like your site. It's just that blunt. If I do a month-on-month view, January, I had 100,000 people. Then February, only 10,000 people come. 90,000, where are they going to? Imagine if your website, you are selling, maybe you are selling clothes or you do African print. It means that 90,000, they came because they wanted to see something. If they are not coming back, they must have gone somewhere. You have competitors. It's just indicative of what your website is telling you. So with this, then you start to look at other things. Then I start to look at the pages. Which pages have terrible bounce rates? Maybe you have a page with a lot of visitors, but the bounce rate is high. It means that page is not serving a good purpose. Something on that page turns people off. Okay, so there's also something that we call the exit rate. So exit rate is related to the exit page. At what page do people run away? Which is a key insight for you as well, to try and understand. So there's a lot of thinking that goes into this so that you can optimize your website and try and address some of these issues, right? So yes, so I mean, we've done a lot of the setup, the reports and all that. Now, this is the Google Analytics Academy. This is where everything I'm teaching now is there and more, right? I think it's amazing how Google did it. They have, it's been a while, I forgot. They have labs, like live labs, right? So they give you a demo account, and then they actually guide you, like, click here, this is this, this is that, and all that. And it's very, very helpful if you want to progress, if you want to have a deeper understanding. It's a must. Like, basically, you should have completed Google Analytics for beginners and advanced Google Analytics, right? Now the URL is down here, so when this deck is shared with you. Now, this is basically not like a syllabus, right? So once you get it, these are some of the things that will run you through. And then there's the almighty certification, right? So the Google Analytics individual qualification. Now, to pass, I've also given you the URL. To pass this, you need to complete, or you must have at least completed these two courses, the Google Analytics for beginners and advanced Google Analytics. Now, the good thing is, once you complete this, you get a certificate of completion. Once you complete the advanced Google Analytics, you get a certificate of completion as well. Now, these two are supposed to help you prepare for this particular exam. Okay, so once you're able to run through those courses, maybe if you want to be so sure of yourself, do it twice, right? And then you watch YouTube videos, you visit other websites. There are so many websites that try to give you insight on, there are even past questions. I don't know if they are past questions per se, but some people have, like, they claim to have some questions that might help. And another amazing thing too is the exam is free, right? You don't have to pay for anything to get the certificate. So once you're able to prepare and prepare well, you go and take this free exam and you are certified for Google Analytics, which is amazing. I mean, a lot of free stuff here. So yeah, so you can have a plan as to how you can, complete this. Just take your time, no rush. I think you need to get, if I remember, well, 80%. Yeah, it's 80%. 80% to pass this, right? So just take your time. And the good thing is, the academy, the Google Analytics Academy, they give you questions to answer. So after every model, there are some questions that you answer. And even in the academy, the Google Analytics for Beginners and Advanced course, to get the certificate of completion, you must at least score 80% as well on all their questions. So it's more like a simulation, right? So once you get 80% and above, you also get a course completion certificate. So yes, I think that's about it. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Hi, thank you, Kwame. Yes, we do have questions. One question would be, is Google Analytics like CRM? If not, what is the difference?
Okay, so CRM is like, I think it's a customer relationship management tool, right? So CRM collects all kinds of data. It's any CRM platform, okay? So let's take ours, for instance. CRM collects every kind of data, transactional data. It depends on what you configure the data to be sent to CRM, right? So once you, data is sent to CRM platform, and then the only difference I can find with both is CRM platforms work well with businesses. Like, so for Vodafone, for instance, we have a CRM platform that takes care of data that has to do with customer interactions and all sorts of transactional data. Okay. In addition to Google giving you the actual data itself, there's also the visualization bit, right? So, I mean, as far as I know, the CRM platform we do does not go up to that level. Okay, now there's one thing to note. Okay, it's a very good question, right? I might decide not to use Google Analytics at all. If I'm really good, like technically, I can actually develop my own web analytics platform. I can send that data to my CRM platform, upload that data into my CRM platform, and then build dashboards with it. Okay, so with the CRM platform, the data will sit there, and then maybe I can connect it to a visualization tool like Tableau or Power BI. Okay, and then I can create my own dashboards. Do you get it? So with Google Analytics, it gathers the data for you, and then it develops or creates those dashboards for you. I don't know if I mentioned too, in Google Analytics, you can also create your custom dashboards. Okay, and with CRM, you can alternatively use your device logs, or I think I've had this discussion with the developers before. There's a way to actually collect user data on activities like the visits and all that. You can actually send that data to your CRM platform and then develop your own dashboards. I hope that helps.
Thank you, Kwame. We do have a few more questions, and we will take about 10-15 minutes more if you don't mind.
Okay.
The other question is quite pertinent. How does Google Analytics integrate with other platforms like LinkedIn and Instagram so that you can have a consolidated data sheet from all these platforms?
Okay, so how does it integrate with LinkedIn and Instagram? I really need to understand. So what kind of information would you want to glean from that? Okay, so remember when I started this, I mentioned that it's a web analytics platform. Okay, so what that means is when we're setting it up, the options available were mobile platform, a website, or a combination of both. Okay, now if you want to understand, if I'm getting you right, if you want to understand user activity on social media, like maybe LinkedIn or Twitter, there are social media analytics platforms. There are quite a number of them. There's we use Crimson Hexagon is now being acquired by Brandwatch. Okay, so those are social media analytics platforms. Okay, I don't know if maybe we can have a session on that as well. So with that, if you're able to configure it, and I mean, those are paid platforms, they are free platforms as well, but I mean, you'd have to upgrade at a point. With that, once you set that up, you're able to track user interactions. I hope this is answering the question. So once we have that set up, you can set up accounts for Twitter, for Instagram, and for Facebook, right? So once you have that set up, you set up something we call monitors. So the monitors are some keywords that you put in the configuration. So for instance, if we are setting up ours, we'll say we want all conversations that have to do with at Vodafone Ghana on Twitter. So it means anytime somebody mentions at Vodafone Ghana, these interactions are logged. And with that, we're able to create dashboards as well. Okay, we're able to set up sentiment analysis, interactions, what people are talking about, themes, word cloud, topic wheel, you get it. So that is another set of analytics, right? Now, the challenging thing here, something that I've been thinking about for some time now, is how to merge these two people together. Now, because of privacy reasons, you can't really get too much information about people on Facebook and stuff, okay? On Twitter, for instance, people don't use their real name. So you can't say that this person insulting me on Twitter is the same person who visited my website 2 days ago. Do you understand? So these are two different like analytics platforms that you can use to, I don't know, inform. But I mean, merging these two, it's not as straightforward as people think. Yeah.
Thank you, Kwame. I'm going to pass this, well, it's not a microphone, but I'm going to pass this, the control to Regina. She has a couple of questions to ask. Regina, please.
Great. Thanks, Edison, and thanks, Kwame. So, Kwame,
Yeah.
still on the questions, there have been some questions on different aspects. One is, how do I give my staff access to our Google page as admin?
Okay. So you want to give them admin access, right?
Yes.
All right. So that is where the sorry, something just popped up. That's where you have the accounts and the organization. So with that, we're able to define which kind of access you want people to, whether view only or admin access, right? So this is available probably in the accounts section, right? So once you set up your account and all that, you're able to define which users should have what kind of access. So you can grant view only access or you can grant admin access as well.
Great, thanks. And also, what should be a good bounce rate? That is, if there's one.
Yeah. So I mentioned it's quite relative, right? But I'll just say anything above like 50 or 55 is bad, right? Because I don't know if I can mention where we were, but it was about 50, right? So that meant more than half of the people coming just see one page, right? So from the business sense, I mean, it won't say some people have 50 and are okay with it. I'm managing the 50. But like I mentioned, for a size like ours where there are so many sections, right? It is not ideal if half of the people, that is 50%, are bouncers within any period, right? So if it's an e-commerce platform, definitely has to be less than 50%, right? So if you are doing 30s, 40s, it's okay. It's fine, right? So it means there are lots of engagement. But for e-commerce, it has to be way lower, like way, 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 way lower. So yeah, 50 can, I mean, like I said, it depends. But 40 and below is okay. Anything above 40 probably is a problem. 40, 50, yeah.
Okay. And also, one participant wants to know how one can track e-commerce conversion with Google Analytics.
So that would be a whole other class on its own, right? So there are some metrics that are more, say, default, right? So what I showed you, the how do you call it, those page views and stuff, these are default. But if you want to set up e-commerce tracking, that's where probably the tag manager comes in handy. Okay, so you need to set up events at every point in the journey, right? So adding to cart will be an event. Okay, so this is where you need to work closely with your developers, right? So for instance, you set up an e-commerce platform. The journey starts from when they land on the homepage. So that one is a basic view event, right? Now there's an action event where once the person clicks add to cart, so your developer will have to configure that as an event. So probably will be linked to the button, the click to add to cart button, right? So once that action is complete or fires, then your developer will send that data into Google Analytics as maybe, so you can have it two ways, add to cart complete or add to cart fail. Because of course, there are times when some actions fail. So with that, you're able to track when things are successful or not. Okay, so that's when you need to work with the developer to set up some of these events. And then from add to cart, maybe if they finish paying their bill and they click on pay, so then your developer will set up the event that when the pay action is complete, if it's successful, maybe pass it as this, pay complete. If it fails, pass it as pay fail. So once you have these events at each of these journeys set up, you can use it for your tracking. Okay, so when you go to Google Analytics, you want to do e-commerce tracking, you already have your event set up. So then you define the journey, or you can even say conversion is when this variable is received, pay complete. You get it? So that means the end of the journey. Additionally, you can set up a series of journeys, right? So what I'm teaching you now, remember clearly, it's in the academy. They mention it specifically. Besides the one journey, you can set up a series of journeys. So all the events that I mentioned, you can put it in there. Stage 1 of the journey is add to cart successful. Stage 2 of the journey is start bill payment on something. You get it? So with these specific e-commerce variables, you need to set up these events with your developer. Yeah.
Great. Thanks. And there's also a question on, is it possible for the Google Analytics tool to integrate social media users plus website visitors through the IP address?
This is an excellent question, right? So this is something I actually explored like a year ago. So I was having these same thoughts, right? Like we have these people talking a lot on social media. I want to see how many of them are actually coming to the website. So what I did was I checked and I realized, oh, of course, we have IP address. So I just need like a primary key, something to link these people. So I went to our social media analytics to searching like, aggressively for an IP. Unfortunately, it wasn't provided. Okay. Now, I of course sent a customer ticket trying to understand why there's no IP available from the social media analytics. And it all boils down to privacy. Okay. Now, you know, these social media platforms have come under a lot of pressure because of user data and all that. So even Facebook, there are a lot of limitations when it comes to social media tracking. There are a lot of things you cannot do. Okay. So once that IP address is not available, it becomes difficult then to stitch the customers. I hope you understand what I mean by stitch, like how to merge them. Okay, so how to identify that this person on social is the same person on the website. Okay, yeah. So it's quite difficult to be able to align these two guys. Yeah.
Great. And also just a quick reminder, please respond to the poll if you haven't already. At this point,
Okay.
I'm handing the floor back to Edison.
Thank you
Okay.
so much, Regina. Kwame, I don't know if you've addressed this yet. For
Yeah.
example, the analytics give us quite a broad overview of the visitors to the website, but does it give us any indication as to how can one improve the UX UI of the website? The more granular details, doesn't seem to be there, but could you please clarify?
Sorry, could you please repeat that? I wasn't quite. So you're saying you want to, are there any specific insights on how to improve the UX and UI?
Correct. So it gives you an indication of maybe, you know, this particular page or this tab received how many visitors, but it doesn't really give an idea of what is the problem with that page, for example.
No. So it doesn't necessarily tell you maybe the wedding is too big or like, yeah.
So for instance, if I'm a business and I want to, you know, I know this particular page is, let's say the contact us page is, you know, not very good, then what would you propose would be the best step forward to speak to a developer or another tool that we can use?
Okay, so there are multiple things that you can actually do, right? So for us as Vodafone, right, what we've done is we've set up surveys on our website. Okay, so I had to do that some time back to answer some of these questions, right? So we used to get like word of mouth complaints about the website, right? It was divided. Some people say the website is awesome. Some people say, I mean, I don't understand some of the things that are organized. So what we did was set up a survey. We use Medallia, right? So these are trigger surveys. So once you visit specific pages, So probably in a month or so, we decide which pages are not performing too well, right? So we edit the questions that we have. We have an open answer. There's a question that you can type any form of answer you want. So what we ask is, what would you want to improve about this page? Or what do you think is not working on this page? So once you visit that page and you leave, the survey is triggered and we get user feedback. Okay, unfortunately, Google, I don't, probably something they're thinking about, an AI or something that gives recommendations or tries to tell you that maybe. But the best kind of feedback is to get is from the users, definitely, because they are using the platforms. And since we've done that, we have so many things that we know we can improve now. So somebody will come and tell you that maybe the kind of information they are looking, they don't understand the English. An issue like that can even happen. Or maybe the wording is too much. They would have preferred maybe an infographic. We get all these kind of responses. And then we can sit down and try and understand how to improve upon it. Also, we have UX designers. Okay, so I mean, not everybody can afford UX designers, right? But basically, what they do is to try and understand the customer journey and try and look at the pages and how we can improve upon them, right? So these are like, you just have to understand once you have the problem, then I don't know, seek a third opinion or something, or get user feedback, because it's quite impossible for you to get that from just the data, to try and understand maybe the font is not working or there's too much information, right?
Thank you so much, Kwame. I think that kind of aligns with my past experience where we conducted a qualitative interviews with users as well. And I think that's where you can gain the most granularity and nuances. I would just take one last question because this has gone on. Apologies to you that it's gone on for quite some time. Take a question from Ofiolua. From Google Analytics, we can track referrals in social, but is the referral classified to identify the particular originating platforms, for instance, Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn, or particular affiliate sites?
Yeah. So, you know, there was a referral and there was a social bit, the channel. So the referrals will probably give you the website, like the URL, right? And the social tells you specifically where it's coming from. I think one of the dashboards I showed, there was YouTube. Okay, so it tells you exactly where it's coming from. If it's social, if it's coming from Facebook, it will tell you it's Facebook. You can actually get a URL or you can get the name of the platform. Okay, so when you use the URL dimension, it'll just tell you like www.facebook.com, or you can use the exact name, the social. So that's where you tell whether it's Facebook. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kwame. I think that we will end the Q&A session. Thank you everyone for being here. And thank you, Kwame, for the excellent presentation. I think everyone got off something that they can apply to their businesses after this. And also please note that this is a free platform that every business can use. Also access the tutorials and the courses and get certified, or get the certificate for yourself. And we hope to provide something more like this in future. Thank you, Kwame, once again. Thank you, Cynthia, Regina. And I wish everyone a good afternoon.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.